Hey everybody, happy Monday. How you folks doing today? Alrighty, got a couple things today. Sorry I missed you Wednesday. It's been a time, friends. So hope you're doing all right. So we've got the last individual project to talk about today. I think I've got all your labs except for this Fxml one that was due today in, which is great. So we'll be working on catching up on these projects, and we can go from there. So our final I/O project, our little movie theater here. Not too much lab time. We don't really have. I want to show a bunch of new stuff. Not necessarily new stuff. More stuff with Java Fxml. So we're gonna go over the project solution, and then we'll tackle some new stuff in Fxml. Yeah, we'll have a little bit of time to chat for sure. All right, so we needed to set up a way we could sell some tickets here. So let's do a little Java project. I think with Maven was working easiest for us. I think that was what was working well. Because we have trouble with Java? I feel like we had trouble with Java. Let's try it and see. We'll see if it complains or not. Let's just do a little command line app. Curious if it doesn't work or not. So this is Monday, Wednesday. This will be for project 4. All right, let's give it a try. I'm going to give it a try. Let's just see if we can do like a hello world. Hello. Nope, this one here. Hello world. Let's just see if it runs. I was having problems with this at one point a while back, but I think other than that it worked.
You put water in the coffee.
I did, dear.
No, there's no water.
Sweetie, the coffee brewed already.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wait, go on, I gotta do my quest. Oh, yeah, this is what it was doing. Why? Something here wasn't building right. Okay, I can just make the other file type. That'll be fine. Because something's not working here. Alright, I give up. Let's try it again. New project. New with Maven. That worked okay last time for us. Project 4. Nope, we gotta go delete that one real quick. Just a second. Let's go find documents, GitHub, CIS 1500, Monday, Wednesday, Project 4. We'll delete that one, that was no good. All right. Project 4. We confuse it? I think we confused it. Oh dear, I broke it. All right. One more try. Delete Project 4. Open up IntelliJ. We'll get there, friends. We'll get there. Just means more time for coffee. Project 4. There, I think it's going to go now. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm glad I got the mute there. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, okay, now we got all of our stuff. So source and main, Java. Once that wakes up, we can add our package and add our class and tell what package it should be in. There we go. Java, new Java class. This is going to be, we do on the package first. New package for project 4. And then in the package, we'll put our new class, project 4. All right, package name should be all lowercase. Class name start with uppercase letter. And following along our conventions here. Now in here then, public static void main. That's PSVM, if you don't remember. That little shortcut, PSVM, and then tab. We'll add that public static void main. It's not worth remembering, but if you want to not have to go copy it from another one here. And we'll just make sure we can print hello world here. And we're not getting that same error as before. Make sure it'll build. And the first time you don't get your run button up here, you got to run it once here, or you can click this add configuration, and it gets a little silly. So usually just hitting run here was going to make that a little faster for you. Just tell it, this is the one I want to run, please. And then it knows you can run it from up here again. Okay. So a couple things we're going to do. We're going to allow them to manage the shows they're selling tickets for, to sell tickets, and to print reports. So the first thing we're going to need to do is figure out how we can manage these shows here. So if we're dealing with a ticket here, I want to make a class for ticket. Because ticket is going to have those attributes. So it's going to have a private string for name, or was it like the guest name or guest name? We're going to have a private int for the ticket number, and we'll have a private int for the confirmation code. Right, and then we can generate some code here. Insert some getters and setters. Sure, we can do probably confirmation code and guest name. We want getters and setters for, but the ticket number is probably not going to change, right? So I'm only going to do a getter for ticket number here, and then we'll add a constructor. That's going to give us access to create these things here, and I want all of those values here. So you tell me the guest name, you tell me the ticket number, the confirmation code, and we're good to go. And then the other thing we could add here, public string, get string for file or something. We've done this before, like with the other example. How do we take a single ticket and store it in a way that is going to make sense for us? Right, so I can just say, hey, for every ticket that I have, let's write it out to the file here. If we have a way just to get a single string, it's pretty easy here. So we can have, I don't know what we want to do. How about we take the guest name plus this pipe character plus the ticket number plus the pipe character plus the confirmation code. Right, we just take all those, smush them together here, boop, and then we'll be able to return them in a single string. So this ticket class with private attributes, public methods, manage show option to create new files, we'll get to that. I sell ticket option to update files, we'll get to that, and the display to update. So we'll get this. So we got our ticket class. Private attributes, public methods. Right? We don't want to give direct access here. We could do some sort of sanity checking if we wanted on like set confirmation code. And we've got specific rules here. However we wanted to go about that. We could put that in ticket if we wanted, or we could put that elsewhere. Might make sense for ticket to have it if we're going to do that random number. But instead of then a set confirmation code, maybe we'd have a method for like generate confirmation code, right? We should do that in here. So we'll do that in here. So we'll have a public int generate confirmation code. So to do that, right, we need to get a random number. Now these confirmation codes were going to be in the range of 100,000 and 999,000. So a 6-digit number every time. So we want to take math.random, right, and we want to multiply it by, what do we want to multiply by? Because we want to end up with a range of 100,000 to 999,000. And when we multiply this by something, we're going to get between 0 and that number. So that range there then has 899,999 values in it, right? So if we multiply those, we'll get a number between 0 and this number. And then I want to add 100,000 to it. So we'll say our confirmation code is equal to, and then I need this as an integer, right? So I really want to force this as an int here of the math.random value. Then I want to add 100,000. So if I get 0, right, I'm going to be at 100,000. If I get all the way up to the max here, does math random? Math random. I don't remember if that actually can give you a 1 or not. Yeah, always less than 1. Okay, so it's always less than 1. So we can go all the way up to 900,000. Because it'll never be a 1 here. Yeah, that should have been fine. Yeah, I think this will be okay. If you only did 800, I mean, depending on what that random value was, you might have gotten the 99999 anyway. So it should be okay here. And then we're going to return the confirmation code. Yep, cool. So that way we can generate a random confirmation code in the ticket if we want. Okay, so if we want to make some files here, right? So the first one was going to be an option 1 here. So we'll tell them, hey, do you want to, and then maybe we like make it a little menu style here. Like we'd say 1 is manage shows or something like that. And then 2 would be sell tickets. And then maybe 3 would be print report for show or something like that. I don't know. Well, we've got some choices here. And we could display it out like that if we wanted to. And we're going to keep on doing this for a while here. So we'll have a string for their choice is, I don't know, how about that? And then maybe we even tell them here, or to quit here. And we can say while choice dot equals ignoring case 4, and as long as it's not 4, right, we want to keep on going here. Right, so start them off with something so that they start in the loop and then pick 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? Or really anything other than 3, but this is fine. This probably makes life easy for us. And then we can say, okay, if they picked a 1, so we're going to need the scanner for keyboard. Keyboard equals a new scanner. Scanner given system.in. Yes, add our import here. Thank you. And we'll get their choice. Choice equals the keyboard.next line. Okay, and then we can say, hey, if choice equals ignoring case is a 1. Now, this is actually kind of silly because you don't have to ignore case. There's no capital 1 or lowercase 1. It's always my habit to do ignoring case here. So if it's a 1, okay? So then we need to ask them, right, what's the show name and how many tickets they want to sell. And then we'll make the file with that many tickets, right? And write empty tickets to that file so that they're ready to purchase. So what's the name? Or enter the name of the show, name of the show. And then we'll have a string for show name is the keyboard.next line. And then we need, enter the number of tickets you want to sell, or of tickets you are going to sell for, and we could even throw in the show name here again, right? If we wanted to be fancy. and I'll have an int for tickets, or number of tickets. Number of tickets is integer.parseInt of the keyboard.next line. Right, do that conversion here. Then I can go make my file here with the name of the show is going to be easiest here. So if we're going to create a file, we're going to do that couple things here, right? So we wanted a print writer that used a buffer writer that used a file writer, or we could just go copy it here because it's not worth remembering. Let's go find our file IO example. Let's see, file IO part 2 maybe? Probably in part 2. Yeah. So we're not reading yet. We're going to go write. So we want the writing portion here. This one here. So try and catch, right? Because bad stuff can happen. So yes, please import that one, and import this one, and import this one. And then for the file name, we want the show name. And we could add in here if you wanted here, .txt. Totally optional, but it'll make it easier for Windows to know what it's supposed to do here. Okay, and then add our exception. Now we don't have transactions here, but we have a ticket. We'll get to tickets here in a minute. All right. So we're ready to write. So whatever the show was, we'll add .txt to it, and that'll be the name of the file. And then I'm going to do a little loop here. So we're going to say for int ticket is, or ticket number maybe is 1. Ticket number is less than or equal to the number of tickets. This way your ticket starts with 1 if you wanted. Ticket number plus plus. And we're going to print here then. What we need to do is make a new ticket. So we'll say, hey, I want a ticket equals a new ticket. And then I don't have a guest name. I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to leave it blank. I do have a ticket number, though, and I'm going to say 0 for the confirmation code. And then when I print ticket.get string file. Oh my goodness, we kind of messed that up. Get string for file, I think, right? So let's go refactor rename. Get string for file. Sure. That's a little bit nicer. Get string for file. Remember, it's going to refactor that everywhere for you. That way you don't have to update it all yourself. Okay, and then we'll close the file. And that's good. So we made the show. Okay, so that one's not too bad. Should make any show, any number of tickets. Now the problem is, if the file exists, we're going to overwrite it. Now, nothing said we had to deal with that, right? They just create the file with a list of tickets. So we know that's a bad thing that could happen. We could add in some stuff later to see if the file already exists, tell them they can't do that, or give them some other sort of options. But for now, this is fine, right? So we know this might overwrite file. Too bad for now. Else if choice.equals ignoring case of 2, we'll come back to this one. That one's a little trickier. Else if choice.equals ignoring case 3, 3 is a little easier here. So for 3, we want to print a report of the ticket. So we need to go read the file, right? So we're going to go in and grab our file reading here, right, where we take a buffer reader that takes an input, that takes a file reader that takes a file. So sure, we can do that. So for reading here, we don't have a file name yet, so we need to ask them what show. What show, or enter the show name to report, I don't know, to list tickets for, sure. And then we'll get the file name is the keyboard.next line. And then we're going to take file name, I'm sorry, as a string here. That's a string for file name. File name plus .txt, because if we added the txt before, we need to add the txt to go read it. Yeah, add, import that one, import that one, import that one. If the file exists, great. If the file doesn't exist, say we aren't selling tickets for that show, or can't find that show, or something like that. I don't know. Can't find tickets for that show. Try again. Sure. Okay. And then as we read the file, right, the buffered reader, given a file reader, given the file, we're going to read it one line at a time. Long as that line is not null, there's something there. We're going to go split it on this pipe character. Again, you can split on anything you want. Some people like comma-separated values, CSV files. That's nice, but if you have a comma somewhere else, it gets really funky, and it's a little bit weird to parse, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But we'll have name was the first one, and then we'll have int for the ticket number was the second one. Integer.parseInt here. And then we had another int for the confirmation code was integer.parseInt of the third part. Right? And then we would make a ticket equals a new ticket, given the name, the ticket number, and the confirmation code. And then we need a list of tickets here, so we can make a list of tickets. We'll say this is an array list of type ticket, call tickets equals a new array list here. Yep, we got their import, look at that. We can take our tickets and we can add the ticket. And then read the next line. When we're done here, then we can go through and display all of that information here. Right, we can say for ticket, I mean, we don't even really necessarily need to load them into this here. We're going to be able to share this in a minute, though. If we read them in as tickets, it'll make it easier to do part 2. If you just read the details and spit it out, that would be perfectly fine for part 3. But this way we're going to be able to essentially copy this for part 2. Well, we can say for ticket in tickets here. Let's print out, how about the guest name, ticket.get guest name, plus the ticket number. Do we want to do ticket number first? I don't know. Should we do number first or guest first? I guess we should probably do ticket number first, right? Ticket number, ticket.get number, get ticket number, plus the guest name. That's getting a little long here, but that's okay. Plus the confirmation code, ticket.get confirmation code. Sure. Hey, we'll spit out all the tickets. Just print them all out. Okay, so we should be able to write a file and then go read it right away. We haven't done part 2 yet, but we're going to make a file with part 1, and then with option 3, we should be able to go and read it and spit it back out here. Just testing those ones out. So let's try it. See if that works for us. So what should we sell tickets for? What show should we sell tickets for? I'm going to manage shows. And what's the name of the show? Should be CIS 1500. And let's have 30 tickets to CIS 1500. And let's print a report for the show. CIS 1500. And we get tickets, guest names, confirmation codes. Looking good so far. We should see there's a new file in here somewhere, right? Did it add our file here? Come on. Where's our file? Where's our file? Should see the file here. Maybe it's confused. Let's see if I can just open it up here. Project 4. There it is. Okay, it is there. I don't know why. It should have shown here. Like refresh it. Nope. That was not it. Is there a refresh? Where's my refresh? Oh, there it is. Okay, it just took a little bit. And then I can open it up here if I want. Right now, see, this is what it looks like. You can see the contents of the file. So looking pretty good so far, I think. So what we're going to do here, enter the name of the show. How about we just say enter the name of the show? Enter the show name, sure. All of this here, where we go and load this array, essentially. Okay, it just didn't show. All right. Maybe it just takes a little while. That's okay. I mean, you can always see them in the folder too. Just go look in the folder. All of this that loads a ticket we need to do in order to sell tickets for a show. Right, so if I'm going to go sell a ticket for a show, go and read the file, load the tickets into the array list, ask the user for their ticket number and their name. If it's not sold, right, let's do it. So all of this then needs to be grabbed here. So what do we want to do? We want, where did that go down to? If else here. So I don't want to have to copy paste all of this. I don't want all of it here. I want, let's do, how about up through here? I want to take all this and turn it into a method here. So I'm going to come down here and make a new method. I want public static array list, type ticket, and we'll say get or read tickets. How about read ticket for read tickets? Sure. And how about we just give them the show name as a string for show name. Like show name. And then when we're done, right, we have our try. Need another curly brace there. Oh my goodness, I got rid of too many curly braces. So then we'll say my array list of type tickets, tickets equals get or read tickets, read tickets. Read tickets given the file name. I guess that should be the show name. Here, show name. Show name. All right, so what is that? Too many curly braces now. Give it a little format here. There we go. Okay. So given a show name, I can go in and read all these tickets here. And then if it fails, right, if the file doesn't exist, maybe we can spit out else unable to. Hector, my friend, thank you so much for donating all those bits to the Student Scholarship Fund over at the University of Michigan Dearborn College of Engineering and Computer Science. My friend, you were so generous. Thank you so much for coming on by. Unable to find tickets for that, or for what's the show name? Sure. And then when we're done, right, after we've read all of them, we've added them all to our tickets here, we closed our file, we can return the tickets. Okay, not quite. So we want to, we'll do that at the end. So it might give us back no tickets. So the only problem with this one is that it said I will give back an array list of tickets. So it might be empty. And that's probably okay. But now we can at least use this twice here. So we can say, here, I want to go get all those tickets and to spit them all out. And then we don't need this else here, right? Yeah, that wasn't, okay, that's what happened. We didn't need that else. So for option 2, then, right, we need the name of the show to get all the tickets here. And then we need to ask them what ticket number do they want. We should tell them we have, and we can get the number of tickets here, right? So we have tickets.size, number of tickets for that show. Which ticket do you want? Number. This way we'll tell them, like, hey, if I read out 0 tickets, we get 0. Sure, that's probably fine. Right, ask them which one they want, and then we can get their ticket number. Ticket number is integer.parseInt of the keyboard.next line. Now we need to go see if that ticket's sold or not. So we got a couple things. So if the ticket number is greater than the tickets.size, like they can't buy that one, or the tickets.get the ticket number confirmation code does not equal 0. So if you try to get an invalid one, or the ticket you did want confirmation code, and this should actually be ticket number -1, right? Because we're at the lower end of the array. Hey, sounds great. Sounds great, David. That was working for you here. So we'll take the ticket number -1, right? So ticket number should be the index of the ticket, right? Because we put ticket number 1 as the first thing, which would be index 0 here. And we're saying if the confirmation code's not 0, means it hasn't been sold yet. Oops. What did I click on? So if it hasn't been sold yet, then we'll be able to sell it. Great. Well, I don't know, and say that ticket is available. Please enter your name. And then we'll get their name. String for guest name is keyboard.nextLine. Right, and then we can take now the tickets at get ticket number. We can set the guest name to the guest name. And then we can get the confirmation code. Yep, I'll commit all this to GitHub. Yep, and then we can say your confirmation code is, and we can say, again, that ticket dot, I know this is generate confirmation code, right, which will give us a confirmation code and go and set it in the ticket, right? Otherwise, we'll say we can't. That seat is, I don't know, that ticket isn't for sale. Please try again. Okay. So we'll read all the tickets and then let them try and find one, see if they want to buy that one or not. I think that lets them try again, right? Read the file, load all the tickets, enter their ticket number. If it isn't sold, ask their name, generate the random number, allow them to pick a different seat if the one they wanted was already sold. So we might have added, we maybe add another loop here, or I don't know, we could do another one, I guess, so, sort of loop inside of here, but this is probably okay. Let's try it. So we got to stop that run, and let's try it again. So let's sell tickets for CIS 1500. We have 30 tickets for that show. What ticket do we want? We want ticket number 7. Uh-oh, that ticket isn't for sale. Oops, this is backwards here. I am totally backwards here. So if it's greater than size or it's not 0, we need to say, oh, that's not for sale. I did the wrong thing. Hey, Rasha, thanks so much for dropping by, my friend. All right, so here we go. Now we'll do the right thing. So if you can't buy that ticket number, right, the number's invalid, or it's already has a confirmation code, we can't sell that one. Let's try one more time. Give it a run here. Maybe that sell ticket should be buy tickets or something. I don't know. CIS 1500. That's buy ticket number 7. Ticket is available. Eric wants that ticket. Confirmation code 477534. And let's print a report for that show then. CIS 1500. We should see ticket number 7 now. Oops. We never wrote the file, friends. We updated it here, but we never wrote the file. Okay. That's all right. So what we need to do, oh, we can't even do this, right? That's kind of a bummer. Because we don't have, we have tickets. All right, so what we want to do, we want to make this a little easier here. So we want to take all of this stuff here, and let's do this. Let me copy this here, and we'll make an array list of type ticket. We'll call tickets equals a new array list of type ticket. And I just want to make tickets to start. Tickets.add the ticket. And then in here, then we can loop through tickets. We can say for ticket in tickets. Here. So this way, this loop here for writing the file, we can do. I'm going to cut that out. I'm sorry. I want to. Yeah, we'll just cut that out. We can use the tool. So I'm going to highlight all that, and I want to extract that as a method. So I'm going to refactor extract as a method here. This is write tickets to file, given the show name and the array list of tickets. So if you tell me what the show name is, and you tell me what the list of tickets is, I can go write it to the file here. So our write tickets to file here, given the show name and the tickets, we can go update the file, and overwriting here is fine, right? We're going to blow away what we used to have and put in something new. So then we can go, after we've sold a ticket here, right, we got the confirmation code, then we'll go write the ticket to the file. Right, we know what the show name is, and we have that list of tickets here. We'll go update it. Now we're going to go actually write the file when we're done. There we go. That maybe now will work. Maybe now. Let's try it. Okay, so we got a sell ticket for CIS 1500. We want seat number 7 for Eric. We got a confirmation code. Look at the different random number. Print the report for CIS 1500. Now we see Eric here as the guest, and we have a confirmation code. So if I try and buy a ticket again for CIS 1500, and I want to buy ticket number 7, it says that ticket isn't for sale. Try again. Because that confirmation code was not 0 when we read it. Looking good so far. We could also add if we wanted, if ticket number is less than 0, or ticket number greater than ticket size. I mean, if you want. I didn't ask for any of that sanity checking here, but user input is always super weird, so it's probably a good idea to do some sort of checking here. I mean, it's going to crash otherwise if you try and get a negative value here, but that's okay. All right, questions, thoughts, or concerns? How'd this one go for you guys? And again, you don't have to use these methods here. They let us reuse this bit of code here where we're going to go read a file or write a file. So nothing says you have to have it here, but just our rule of thumb. That's probably private. That's probably better. The rule of thumb is anytime you have the same code twice, you should feel bad about yourself. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to it with all the different parts here. Writing files, reading the file and then updating it, or just reading it and printing it here. But a good little chance to use some file input and output. All right, cool. So let me go commit this one to GitHub here. The grid layout, no, I wasn't going to get in any layouts today, SB Java. Just going to talk more about how we would use a class in JavaFX project 4, because that's what we need to do with this final project, is we want to figure out how we can make a class sort of connect to the JavaFX application. Yeah, we can talk more about layouts on Wednesday, for sure. All right, awesome. So I got that one there. So let's go do a new project. New project. There we go. This one, we want the JavaFX project here. This will be JavaFX more. I don't know, more JavaFX. Sure. Oh yeah, that one was still running. I forgot to quit. All right, so out of the box, it should just work for us, which is super cool. I do like that about IntelliJ. We don't need to add any other stuff. We do want to change this view, though. This Fxml is just a VBox, which isn't the best one for us. We're probably better off with an anchor pane, right? The hello view that it generates. So we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's just make sure it builds and runs. So out of the box, it should run. And life should be good. If we're doing it in NetBeans, right, we got all those steps we got to copy, just add the libraries and set up the options and things. So, yep, so that one starts off okay. Looks great so far. So I want to go and open this one in Scene Builder here, and we're going to go change it up. So it should launch Scene Builder. So I don't want this VBox. I'm going to get rid of the VBox here, delete that one. I'm going to grab the anchor pane and drag in the anchor pane. This is a little easier for us to build more static UIs on, because you can just drag and drop things on here, and it'll just work. After we do that, we need to go and update this controller section here and say, hey, please go use this controller, the hello controller. Right, that'll make life a little easier for us. Okay, so we've got the anchor pane back in here, and we've got the controller set up. So if I come back to IntelliJ and I right-click my Fxml file, I can say update controller from Fxml. And my controller here now should say, hey, this is deprecated. This method doesn't run anymore because we don't use it. We got rid of it, which is fine. So we can get rid of all of that. Okay, So that's just cleaning this one up here. So as we start to add new things, we can go about it here. So what I want to do here is figure out how we can add a little way to buy some coffee. So I'm going to write a class here. I'm going to add a new class for coffee. And then coffee will have probably a private string for size, probably a private, I'm just going to say string for milk here, and a private string for sugar. I think those are probably easiest to work with at the moment here. Right, and then we need to add some ways to interact with those. So I'm going to generate some getters and setters. Yeah, let's just do getters and setters for all of them. Why not? And then we'll add a constructor. I mean, I guess you could technically pour it into a different cup, but I don't know. Maybe it makes sense, maybe not. So say, okay, if you want a coffee, we'll go make a coffee here. So what I want to do in my application here, I'm going to use these things that are called radio buttons. So not a container, but a control. So the idea with a radio button is only one can be picked at a time with a radio button. So I say, hey, the radio buttons here all belong together. So I'll drag in 1, 2, and 3 here. And then I need to give them some text here. So this will be a small, and then in the code here, I need to give it, what is this FX ID? So this is the small coffee button. Here, I'll figure out this on action in a minute here. We'll get to that. So then we want a medium coffee button. And this is for medium. And then we want a large. We'll do a large. And we'll say this is the large coffee button. Okay. Now, back in properties here, you need to give them a group. So the idea with radio buttons is you have to group them together so you know which one is which. And I'm going to say the large button should be selected because large should be our default here. Say this is our coffee size. So all of these are going to go into the same toggle group here, which will tell JavaFX only one is allowed to be clicked at a time. Right? You can only do small or medium or large. You can't have multiple of them picked at a time. Then in the code here for on action, let's say, I don't know, coffee size button clicked. So when you click one of those radio buttons, I want all of them to run the exact same method here. This will make life pretty easy for us. Okay, so all of them have the same on action method name. They have different FX IDs. They're all in the same toggle group, and they all have their own text. Right? So now when I go back to IntelliJ and I right click and I say update controller, now my controller here has a bunch of radio buttons. It doesn't add the import, so that one drives me nuts. But we can add our own import here. Add the import here. Add the import here. Sure, why not? All right, there we go. So we see there's 3 radio buttons and a toggle group all get added by this Fxml stuff. It generated this from the Fxml file. And then our coffee size button clicked happens when we click a button. What we don't have here is a label. We probably want a label to like show where our coffee is. Let's grab a label, and then we'll call this one, I don't know, let's take the text out for now. And this will be the coffee label. Sure, why not? Coffee label. I'll come back, let's update the controller again, and now we get a new label, coffee label. Right, easy. So when you click the button here, I want to make a coffee, so I'm going to say coffee equals a new coffee. And then for the size, well, we need to see which one was clicked. So we can say, hey, if the small button is selected here, let's make the coffee with small. Else if the medium button is selected, we'll make the button be medium. Else if the large button is selected, then we'll make it large here. So how about we have a string for size equals nothing to start, and then we can say size equals small, or we could say size equals medium. The toggle group groups the radio buttons together, so only one can be clicked at a time. It's the grouping of, hey, all of these radio buttons belong together. Only allow one to be picked at a time. Size equals large. All right, and then we can make our coffee here, given the size, and no milk and no sugar, right? For now. We can worry about some of those later. Then right, my coffee probably needs a way to represent itself as a string, right? So we can add a public string. This toString is a very common method here, and you can even add an override tag here. Remember, everything gets a toString because of object. So if you want to override that here, it's a really common way. So we'll return, how about size coffee with, I don't know, plus milk. I don't know, milk and plus sugar. I don't know, it might look a little funny here. So like large coffee with blank and blank. How about we'll say milk and sugar. Sure. I don't know. We could clean that up later. We don't need to worry too much about that. So in our controller then, we'll take our label, our coffee label, and we want to set the text to my coffee.toString. So get the string version of that coffee and set the coffee label text. So I should be able to get different sized coffees every time. So, oops, I forgot. In our last thing here when we start, we don't need to give it the sizing here, because our anchor pane already has a size, so we can get rid of the size. There we go. I get small, medium, and large. Large coffee with milk and sugar. Right, I guess no milk. I don't know. We could clean it up. But we see small, medium, and large. And every time we click the button, we're updating the label. We're generating that coffee here, which is pretty handy. Now, one thing we might want here is when this starts to already have a coffee, right? Because we said, hey, that large button should be selected, right? So there's no clicking happening here. So what we want to do is we want to add in and initialize. So Fxml is a little funny here. And let me just actually go and steal this here, because I had to go look this up last time. Give me just a second. I'll go find that one. Here's our coffee shop. Oh goodness, I don't want all that. I don't want all that. This one. I want to see the controller. Nope, open it. View the file, sorry. There we go. We want initialize. Yeah, do we have to add anything? We didn't add anything, okay. So with Fxml, there's a special method that runs that actually will go and create all of these Fxml objects. And it doesn't happen in the constructor. So I can make a constructor for this hello controller here. The problem with the constructor is it runs first. Then all the Fxml stuff gets set up here. So if we were to make a constructor here and say, hey, public hello controller, right, because this should run first, right? I can't take my coffee label, set text to constructor. I can't even spell constructor, right? This will fail here. In the initialize, though, I can access all my Fxml stuff. Initialize, because it runs after all the Fxml stuff has been created or set up. So if we try and give this a run here, we're going to see it's going to crash. We get can't invoke scene control label set text because this coffee label is null. It doesn't exist yet at this point in the constructor, so we can't use a constructor here. We can use the initialize instead. So initialize will run essentially like the constructor, but after all of our Fxml stuff gets set up here. So now we see, hey, it says initialize. So it works. So you want to use this initialize method here when dealing with Fxml. So what we can do then, we can do this, essentially we can do the same thing here. We can just say, hey, let's update the coffee button. Now, I don't have this action event though. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all of this here, I'm going to cut it out. And I'm going to add a new method, public void, I don't know, update coffee label. Label, not label. And then the method can just call update coffee label, and initialize can also call update coffee label. Let's give that a run. So now when it starts off, it's going to show us, hey, okay, you said the large button should be selected, so we get a large coffee. And how about milk? What size here, right? So I can go and update this with some, at the start so it looks nice here. Or you could have none of them selected if you really wanted. Here, that's totally up to you, and just have it be blank, and then you can go through and pick which ones they want. Totally an option. But if you want something to happen first, this is essentially like your constructor. You got to use this initialize. It's a special method. Okay, so then we need some other ways of setting up some milk. So let's go to our coffee here, and we've got a set milk option here. That might work, or maybe we want to have like just a couple options here specifically. So how about public void set no milk will be milk equals nothing. And then how about we have a public void set soy milk equals soy, and a public void set whole milk equals whole milk. I don't know if M should be capitalized there. Probably everything's lowercase, right? So I got a couple ways we can, no milk, soy milk, whole milk. We could add in any other options we want here, but now I can go back here and add some more radio buttons. So I can have a radio button for, this is the no milk button. On action, this will be the milk button. Milk button clicked. And this one should say no milk. We'll add another, and then the toggle group here can be the milk. Sure, we'll just call milk. Why not? Add another one here. Oops, move that. Try and line that up a little bit nicer here. This one can be for whole milk. This goes in the milk toggle group. We need to give it a, this is whole milk button. And this is the, what do we say, milk button. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting it already. Milk button clicked. On action. And then one more we'll do for soy milk. There it goes. There's the lineup here. This will be the soy milk button. On action, we want the milk button clicked. And this can be soy milk. And toggle group should be milk. Okay, so we'll go add some milk options here. Now, I probably want no milk to be the default here. So I'll say that one should be picked. And I'll go back, let's give that a save. Come in here and update our controller. Go back to our controller, now we have more toggle groups and radio buttons. Right, we got the milk toggle group, we got the milk radio buttons. So when the milk button is clicked, what do we want to do? Well, we probably just want to update the coffee label. Right? And then we'll have a, so we've got string for size, now we need a string for milk. So it starts off as nothing here. And then if the milk, no milk button, I guess actually we should default that to no milk. I don't know. Milk equals no milk. So then I'd only need a couple milks here. I can look if, I guess because this could change. So if no milk button is selected, we want to say milk equals no milk. I guess we start off with blank. Why not? Else if my whole milk button is selected, milk is equal to whole milk. And, oh my goodness, we're doing more work than we need to here, friends. Yeah, we can do it this way. Because we added those options to our coffee here. So I can say coffee dot no milk, set no milk, right? Or coffee dot set whole milk. Right, there we go. Else if my soy milk button is selected, we'll say coffee dot set soy milk. There we go. Give it a little format. So based on what was picked here, we'll just call those methods here, right, in our coffee. So maybe then coffee, we could make this a little easier here. We don't even need to take a milk option here. We can get rid of that. And milk will just default to blank. Blank. Here. Because we're going to use one of these set milks here in a minute. I think that'll work out pretty nice here. So we can just get rid of milk as an option. We'll still have sugar. We'll figure out sugar after. That might be the same thing here. We'll try that. So now we should be able to have some milk options. Oh yeah, we don't even need the string for milk. There we go. All right, so large coffee with milk, with whole milk. Oh, that's right. No milk was going to be no milk. No milk. All right, so we'll change that in coffee because we wanted that to show up with no milk. Otherwise, maybe it's a little confusing. All right, large coffee with milk, no milk, and sugar. All right, maybe that's weird to say milk, no milk, but it's probably okay. And we could always clean that up later again if we wanted. We got some choices. All right, so we can add some radio buttons for how much milk we want, or what kind of milk we want, right? That fun? It's working out okay? All right, and then let's add in here. Now, some people, let's do sugar, and then we'll come in and add a couple other things too here for fun. So let's do no sugar. This should be the sugar toggle group. This is the no sugar button. No sugar button. And on action, we'll say sugar button clicked. Oh, there's no 2 G's, is there? Sugar button clicked. Okay, so we'll do no sugar. We'll do, this is the sugar button clicked, and this is sugar. And how about we do the no sugar, sugar. The sugar toggle group, right? No sugar, sugar, you know, like Splenda or Sweet and Low, or I don't know, whatever this no sugar, sugar button. That might be a little confusing here, but we'll make it work, right? Fake sugar, no sugar, sugar, I don't know, whatever you want to call it here. I just think that one's kind of funny. And then no sugar probably should be the one default selected again. See, selected here. Great. And then we'll go and update our controller. We'll go to our controller, and then when we make our coffee, we need to again do the sugar thing. So we should probably do the same thing with sugars, right? We can get rid of set sugar, and we can just have public void set no sugar. Sugar equals no sugar. Public void set sugar. Sugar equals sugar. And public void set no sugar, sugar. Sugar equals no sugar, sugar. Sure, why not? And then in our controller, we can go through and essentially do the same thing. Go and look. So we'll say, hey, if the no sugar button is selected, we'll say coffee.set no sugar. Else if the sugar button is selected, we'll say coffee.set sugar. Else if the no sugar, sugar button is selected, coffee.set no sugar, sugar. Why not? And then what do we want to do? Well, when we call, or when the sugar button gets clicked, let's call update coffee label. Okay, let's try it. So we should be able to pick no sugar, sugar, or no sugar, sugar. It's just fun to say, isn't it? Sugar, 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 no sugar, no sugar, sugar, milk, whatever, orders, right? And be able to have this whole bunch of things that we want here. You okay so far? So now we want a way to specify, because some people like putting more than just like one serving in. Apparently, and I just drink my coffee black because I'm boring, and that's how I learned to drink it when I was young. But my pastor loves drinking a triple from Tim Hortons with 3 creams and 3 sugars. And I I make fun of him all the time because that's not coffee, but he swears it's delicious, and it probably is. But that's a dessert at that point. What you're drinking, you're not drinking coffee, you're drinking dessert. So, but we want to allow people to make their coffee the way they want. So I think a fun way for that, then, we got a couple options, but a fun way might be a slider. So a slider lets you give a minimum value and a maximum value. So we'll say, hey, a max is 5. How about that? Major tick unit should be 1. We'll say 0 for the minor ticks. We want to snap to ticks, and we want to show tick labels and marks. So you can slide from 0 to 5 here with a slider. So the snap to ticks is going to be important because otherwise it's kind of weird to have like half or a quarter or 3/4 or something here. And then we want this to be the milk slider. Now this one's weird because you've got all sorts of what is the particular option we want here. Now not all of these make a lot of sense here. And I have to go remember which one was the right one here. So the coffee slider. Where's our slider? On mouse released is what we did. Okay, so we went to on mouse released. We wanted the milk slider slid or something. We'll give it some sort of method option here. So when we let go of it, we want it to do something. Okay, so we'll go update our controller. We need to add the import for slider because that's a new thing. Sure, why not? Now, if this is it's an event, import that one, sure. This one now is a quantity, so we need to update coffee to have a quantity of milk. So we're also going to have a private int for milk quantity. And we'll say milk quantity equals 0 to start here. So then when I'm giving you this string here, right, we can say, hey, I want the milk quantity, essentially, with plus the milk quantity plus the milk. Not that quote there. There we go. So we'll say the milk quantity plus, maybe a space here, plus the milk and whatever our sugar is. So we should be able to say, I want 0 milks or 1 milk or 2 milk or 3 milk or 4 milk or 5 milk using the slider here. Again, it's going to get a little funny. We could clean this up and have, if there is no milk, we don't even add any milk. We got some choices. You could have soy milk coffee without any milk, given you want 0 milk. Yeah, I mean, if you specify 0, then it gets a little funny there. But we can clean all that up, Red. So in our controller then, when that slider gets slid, we want to update coffee label. And in the coffee label, now we're going to go check and see how much milk we want. Right, so we're going to say, hey, if the, or actually we're going to take the slider, milk slider.getValue here. That's currently a double because they're allowed to be doubles here. So what I want to do is I want to turn this into an integer here, and I want to take that value and say coffee. Oh, we never added that. Got to go to our coffee. Now coffee needs a way to set. So let's generate some code. We need getters and setters for the milk quantity. We need a way to get the milk quantity and set the milk quantity. So I'm going to set the milk quantity to the integer value of the milk slider every time. So we'll say, okay, get the value from the milk slider, set the quantity. Let's try it. So 0, no milk. Okay, it's a little funny here, but now I can say, hey, I want 1 no milk or 1 whole milk, 2 whole milk, 3 whole milk, 4 whole milk, 5 whole milk, 0 whole milk, 2 whole milk. It doesn't necessarily make perfect sense here, and it gets a little funny if you start saying 0. There are ways to kind of link them together here, and that's okay. We've got some choices here if we really want. So we could say, hey, if we're clicking this button here, we should change the slider if we wanted. We could do that. That'll be fun. So let's say in our milk button clicked here, we're also going to now go and do something. We're going to say, hey, if the label I'm going to say if the milk slider label get value is 0, then we're going to take the milk slider and we're going to set value to 1. So if you go and click a milk button and your milk slider's at 0, we're going to change it to 1 for you. Right? How's that sound? Does that sound like a good plan? So if we set whole milk, it now gives us 1 here. We can put it back to 0 if we want. Okay, so maybe in the slider here then, milk slider slid, if our milk slider value is 0, how about then we say the no milk button, we can set selected to true. We can set that one selected. Say, hey, we want no milk. Yeah, we could add in the slider or hide it for sure. That's definitely an option, SP Java. Yeah, you got lots of different choices for it. Let's see if this will work. We go up to 3 soy milks and we go down to 0. Now we're back at no milk. You know, the problem is you can have 1 no milk. Okay, so that gets a little funny here, right? So you say whole milk and then you add the slider. Sure. So we could do that. We could say, hey, if we're saying no milk, so milk button clicked, we could say if the no milk button is selected, we can take the milk slider dot set enabled or set disabled to true. Say, hey, disable this thing. Else, we want it enabled, disabled, false. So this is a weird double negative, but set disabled false is saying not disabled is enabled. There's no 2 options for it. So we can turn off the slider if you say no milk. So it starts on because we've got it here, but now when I go click it, I can't change the slider. Right? It's turned off. Uh-oh. Didn't we say no milk? Milk button clicked. Oh, okay. So this should only be if it's not no milk here. So if it is no milk, so if we're saying no milk, we want to set the value to 0 here. There we go. So if you pick no milk, we'll set the slider to 0 and disable it. If you do want it, we'll enable it, and then if it's already 0, we'll set it to 1. And you can even hide and show things too with it versus enabled and disabled. You got lots of choices here. Lots of fun choices. So if I say no milk, it turns it off and disables it. If I say whole milk, it turns it 1, it turns it on. If I go down to 0, it puts it back to no milk. But it doesn't disable it in case I wanted to change my mind, I guess. I don't know, we got choices. We can do sugars, no sugars, milks, whatever we want here. All right, the next thing we want to do here, once we have this initialize button here, right? Maybe we want to have a way of tracking an entire order of coffee. So I'm going to make a private array list of type coffee. Coffees, or we'll call this the order. How about that? Order. Let's add our import here. So I'm going to add a button in here. And let's go find a button. Over here, we'll say this is the add to order button. On action, add to order button clicked. And we'll say add to order. Add to order. Okay. And we'll go update the controller. So in initialize then, right, this takes the place of the constructor. I want now that order to equal the new array list of type coffee here. So I have an empty order, and then every time I click the add to order here, what do I want to do? Well, I want to take that coffee that we've created and I want to add it to the order. Now the problem is all of these ones have been a new coffee every time. So I also need to add a button, add the import for button. We need to add a private coffee for coffee. So we have a class level variable, so we have access to that coffee everywhere. So the only thing we need to change here is say, hey, coffee. We're not redeclaring coffee. We're going to say, hey, my class level coffee, this.coffee essentially, is a new coffee. So I'm going to go add to order. We'll take my order and we'll add the coffee. Then I want to say coffee equals a new coffee, right? I don't know. Maybe some way to reset it here. I don't know. We'll leave it as is, but maybe resetting it would be nice. But the next time we click a button, it'll make that be a new coffee for us, which is nice. So then we need a place to show the order, right? So let's go here. So we've got one label for the current coffee. I'm actually going to move this one up here, so I got to add some text to it real quick. So I can click and drag it here. We'll put that one at the top, and then we'll put another label down here at the bottom. We'll say this is the order here. Okay. So then when I add something to the order, right, we're going to take, we'll say for coffee, I don't know, current coffee in the order. We'll take my order, what do we call that label? Did I update it? I don't remember if I updated it. Did we give it a name? We didn't give it a name. This is the order label. Order label. There we go. Now we've got order label. Let's go update that. We'll say order label dot set text. So actually, I want to restart this here. Let's set it as order, and then let's take the order label dot get text, and we're going to add to it a new line plus the coffee dot toString. So I can add a bunch of copies then. Oh, I'm sorry, current coffee toString. So whatever it used to be, let's just append to it. That way we can keep on adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. So I can add a bunch of copies to my order here. Right, so I can have, hey, I want a large with no milk, no sugar. Let's add that one to the order, and then maybe we'll get, my wife likes a medium with whole milk and a little bit of sugar. We'll add that one to the order, and then, hey, I want another no milk, no sugar one for me. Right, we can just keep adding to our order here. So we can interact with the classes here, but the class just has a bunch of public methods for what we're going to do with it here. So what we've done is the controller says, okay, if you click a button or do a slider or do something, interact with the class, call a method in the class. Right, so everything is going back to the coffee class to do something like set milk quantity or set to the sugars or any of that sort of thing. So that the way that we interact with them is the class still has all the business logic. The UI just says, okay, instead of you entered the number 1 or the number 2 or the number 3 on your keyboard, we're going to give you buttons to click, right? Things to do, and we still interact with the class using the public methods. Right? We could essentially do this whole thing in a text-based application, a console-based application if we wanted, right, with a bunch of loops, like what size, what milk, what sugar, that sort of thing. Change your values, how much of each, and it would work the same way with the coffee class, because the class doesn't care, right? It doesn't care. It's fine with it. So I'm going to get rid of set size too. Okay. So how does this feel? So this is the way we can make our FX application work with the class, right? All the things that we do, just call the methods of the class, and that's what's going to be happening with the final project. Right? You'll write classes, they'll have methods to do things, and then we'll go display some results. Right? You might need a couple other labels for places to display things, sure, that's perfectly fine. But you just go get the values, and when things change, you call the methods of the class. All right, questions, thoughts, concerns? You folks feeling okay so far? So I'll go commit this one to GitHub too. And I think we'll call it a day. I don't think we need another lab at the moment. Maybe on Wednesday we'll do some new stuff, and maybe, I don't know, I think we can be done with labs because we have our last, we have got the final project already coming up. So I think we'll be in good shape there. So here is JavaFX, Fxml, coffee shop. Okay. So we have this week for some more JavaFX stuff, next week for more JavaFX stuff. We probably won't spend all of next week working on it here. We'll see how far it gets, but anything we don't use will be final project work time. So for sure we'll have stuff on Wednesday. We'll talk about some layouts and some other interesting Fxml stuff. Definitely some choices for you for where you want to put things and lay them all out. So the anchor pane's nice, but it is a little bit limiting. So we'll look at a little bit of that, and then we can go from there, okay? Awesome, folks. Yeah, so Wednesday, probably Monday for sure. We might have some more stuff, and then we'll have final project work time. Again, if you're working in pairs, let me know. I need your GitHub usernames, and then I can hook you up so you both have access to the repository. Yeah, Red, what's up? And then we're presenting on May 2nd. We'll get together on Zoom in the morning, and you folks will have a chance to show us your game and play it. Yeah, so the final project work time is just, I can meet with anybody who wants to meet. We've got that class time dedicated for it. Usually is this what, I would like people to work in pairs, so this was a good time to work with your partner. Yeah, for the final project, yeah, if you want to work in a pair, you can. You and your partner tell me who's working with it, and I need your GitHub usernames. There's no extra stuff, because working with a partner is actually adding work in terms of all the collaboration, coordination, and figuring out who's doing what and testing each other's code. You're not getting less work by working with a partner. So you'll do the exact same project, whether or not you do it individually or with a partner. Yep, so if you're working with a partner, make sure when you start, you click this little fetch button up here to see it. It doesn't always notice if changes happen. Usually it does, but sometimes it doesn't. So before you start making any changes, go fetch, and there might be a change to pull, because if your partner made changes to the code, you want to get the latest and greatest version here. Git will get a little bit upset if two people make changes to the same file. It's usually pretty good about it, but you want to make sure you're doing it in the right order for it to work out well. And if you get stuck on anything with that, let me know. I can definitely hop on a screen share and get you sorted out, usually pretty quickly. Okay, so I think we got ours committed. So we're good there. And we'll go from there. So I got to work on getting those rest of the projects in for you and the last lab, and then we should be all up to date. All right, thanks, folks. I will see you on Wednesday then, I think. Don't forget study group, Tuesday 5 to 6 and Wednesday 12 to 1 with Mr. Tim. Definitely worth your time. Bring questions about the final project. He can't do it for you, but definitely can give you ideas and get you pointed in the right direction here. And I'm quite fond of this final project, so I think it's, I don't know, I like doing them. So, all right, folks, you take care, and I will see you around.